What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. A grand welcome to all the fellow decoders out there around the world, wherever you are. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality, and today we're going to be breaking down and decoding the number 42, or 42. This will be 42 decoded, and I have a jam-packed presentation for all of you today. So as I often say, get comfortable, slip on a pair of headphones, block out the outside world so you can really get immersed in this presentation. Folks, what I'm about to show you are so many synchronicities, and it's where we can rule out coincidence when you start to synchronize all these separate layers using the mystical arts and math and numbers and all the things I've been showing. This one's going to be a real fun one, so strap yourself in and let's go through this presentation. So here are the topics of conversation during this presentation. Of course, always want to include the zero in the intro, and when we move into the number one spot, we're going to start off with Soap Opera Sandman. What does that got to do with 42? Leads into another presentation many of you have been waiting for, called Prison Planet. Number 2, the lead of reincarnation. Number 3, Fallen Angels. They have everything to do with 42. Number 4, what about baseball? Baseball is 42. We're going to talk about that. This is going to be ironclad, folks. That man's being used. Number 5, why the 42? Number 6, Adam's Galaxy. Number 7, of course, life, the universe, everything. And always love to hear what each and every one of you observed during these presentations. So I'd love to hear your comments. What did you see? So we get into the first topic, folks, Soap Opera Sandman, and this leads into, of course, again, a heavily awaited presentation on Prison Planet, but it starts off with this slide right here, ladies and gentlemen. I had posted this on my social media, and I'm beginning to find that, you know, a lot of words match a lot of words in the same numbers. And that's why, you know, if you're just doing that, it can be tedious and it can be really watered down. So these are really loose, but I'm going to show the tie-ins to where these move into other layers in mystical arts, numbers, math, etc. But notice that the word soap opera, or words, is the number 42, and that's a match to the word crucifixion, which is a match to the word reincarnation. Do you believe in reincarnation? I abso-friggin-lutely do. There's no other logical explanation for what we see. But what does soap opera have to do with the crucifixion? It's all theater, ladies and gentlemen. That's why William Shakespeare, I'm going to be coming out with a decode on William Shakespeare and how he was being used. All the world's the stage, and mankind is the soap opera. And that's the part of the significance of the number 42. And here is the top 5 or top 4 programs on television that are the longest running. Of course, these have a lot of merit because they're the longest running ones. In the very top position, it's from Germany called Unser Sandmännchen. I may not even have pronounced that right, but it means our Sandman. And that is exactly what each and every one of us are, ladies and gentlemen. We are sandmen and sandwomen. And then you get into silicon and how sand is made, and there are a lot of abstract ways to look at this. But then, of course, the other ones in the top 4, they're all freaking soap operas. They're all soap operas. So if you use your common sense and logic through this presentation, you'll see that we are living through a soap opera. It's called life. It's called the game of life. It has everything to do with the 42. And it has everything to do with, that's why Our Sandman's the longest running television series ever. And I'll be getting into that with Puppet Master Decoded and all that kind of stuff. And this upcoming presentation, which I know many of you have been patiently waiting for this to come out. And there's just so much information. I keep going back and forth. And I know when the time is right, it's going to be delivered to all of you. And it's going to be a really big one. Because this is what I feel we live in, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a sort of a prison, if you look at it that way. I don't look at it that way anymore. We just use these terminologies. And if you really put everything under a microscope, you'll see that we just keep incarnating. And that's where the whole prison adjective comes into play. And of course, we live on a planet. But this has everything to do with 42, and you'll see it throughout this presentation. So let's get into the second topic. I was kind of rather boring a little bit, but let's get into the juicy parts. Number 2, the lead of reincarnation. What is it? What do you mean lead? Well, folks, I did a decode on Angel Falls. It became really popular. Many of you shared it. Thank you so very much. Many of you left comments. And I showed that the water cycle in nature is the incarnation/reincarnation process. That's nature's way of telling you how it all works. And of course, it involves the sun, the moon, and the earth. That's nature's trinity. But it goes into the water cycle, and you'll notice, look at these words that link to the number 42. The word rain is a match to the word crucifixion, which is a match to the word precipitate, which is what clouds do. They rain, precipitation. And that's a match to the word reincarnation. This is all done because it's part of the software written into this game called life. And man didn't write it. Man is just following the script. Like good little sandmen and good little sandwomen. But here is a more advanced layer of Angel Falls, if you observe that presentation. And nature's trinity, telling you how we all get here. And how I feel it really works. But notice at the very top, you have evaporate, condense, and precipitate. This is the nature's trinity. Evaporate, condense, precipitate. And you'll notice at the bottom, which is where the skeleton's leaning against the earth, and I want to be very clear, I'm not interested in flat earth, round earth, concave earth. I don't care about that stuff. It's just a graphic, in case you're wondering. Let's focus on what's important here. Evaporate, condense, precipitate. We start off with evaporation. That's what the sun does. The sun's job, one of the sun's jobs, is to take water from the earth. Evaporation. You go stand out in the dead of summer when it's hot out and you're going to start to sweat. That's evaporation, which can lead to dehydration. It can kill you. So the sun is the first and starting point of this trinity. And then it condenses. It moves to step number 2. And the evaporation and condensation, or the condensing number 2, goes to the moon. And then the third step is to precipitate. The moon gives to the clouds. The clouds then rain upon the earth. That's where you get the rainbow from. From the rain, the precipitation, and the sun. And through the elements on the periodic table, you get the tie-ins to numerology. So you have evaporate, which is 39. That's leading to the 19th element called potassium, otherwise known as kalium. That's what the letter K is. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, the sun's temperature is measured in Kelvin with a K. Then you go to the moon over here to the far right, and that's element number 18, argon. The word condense is 37, which matches argon, one of argon's weights, one of its stable atomic weights. 37. And then you go to precipitate, which is the moon giving to the clouds giving to the earth. And that's 42. There's your 42. One of the 3, all tied together. And precipitate gives its way to this element right here called calcium. Calcium has an atomic weight of 42. One of them, it has several. But when you use common sense and logic, you can tell that what are our bones made up of? Calcium. This is our skeleton, our foundation. And this is telling us, and remember the word duality, we're going to get into that, equals the number 20. So that's where the 42 comes in. Life, the universe, everything is the human being called the Homo sapien, which is the number 46, which is a tie to Jesus and Lucifer, which is what we all are. So how about that? Look at this graphic, folks. All tying to the number 42 and calcium, our bones. So there's a big clue to all of this. And then I decided to break down using pi. As most of you know, following this great research, many of you use it. Pi is the measurement of a circle. We live on a circle. Sphere, circle, whatever, a disc, whatever you want to call it. But pi is the measurement of all our emotions. Everything's contained in that circle. The sine and cosine waves. And you can measure numbers, which is what I've done. So reincarnation is 42, tied to precipitation. Reincarnation, precipitation, rain. That's our incarnation process. Now there are 2 elements that match the 42. The first one's called molybdenum, which is the 42nd element itself, and it's derived from the Greek word molybdos, and it means lead. And if you understand alchemy, folks, it's turning lead into gold, going back to the sun. The sun evaporates. The sun is gold. Even though it's potassium in this example, it's known as gold. And when it evaporates us, we go from lead, which would be this state right there, and we would go back to the sun. Lead to gold. That's how this all works. The second element again is calcium, derived from the word calyx, or calx, means lime. When you take 42 digits into the string of pi, you're going to get this number right here, 207. And that's tied to this element right here called lead. Lead itself, 82. Tied to the word demiurge, but there it is. It's the 207, folks. It's right there. You can't miss it. And what would be the odds when you synchronize all these? How they match up like this perfectly. Telling us the story. This is all part of the software. That's what makes this software work the way it does. Numbers. Not people's opinions, numbers. Let me say that again. What makes this reality work is numbers, not people's opinions. Numbers do. And when you know how to look and observe and interpret the numbers, they tell you the truth. At least that's what I believe. But notice that, this element tied to the 42 digits, tied to currency, 27's currency, it's the abbreviation PB, which comes from the word plumbum, whatever, Latin word. And look at what it is. It's 33, tied to the Christ, tied to reincarnation, tied to crucifixion. See, it's all right there staring us in the face, and you can't miss it once you see it. So there it is. Crucifixion, 42. Reincarnation, 42. And is it all just a coincidence? 42. Is it all just a coincidence? Not when you know how to read the numbers. So notice, again, reincarnation's 42. Where does that lead us in the string of pi? Where does it appear? Well, it occupies 2 digits, 92 and 93. But it starts at the 92nd decimal digit of pi. And of course, in the English numerology cipher, duality equals the number 92. I mean, you can't miss this, folks. See, the Chaldean and the English are in bed together. These two you don't even, as a decoder, this is just my opinion, you don't need to use any other ciphers. Simplify your life. Build your foundation off of 1 or 2 ciphers. Don't go gung-ho crazy on using this one and that one and this one and that one. It's easy to connect. Once you add another cipher, you get more chances, which waters it down. But how about that? You clearly can see we reincarnate into duality. It's right there in the numbers. Make no mistake about it. So, I had put out this graphic on my social media page a few times and got a lot of responses. But again, Crucifixion 42, we now bring in more layers to this story. And we bring in the cards of illumination, typical poker deck, 52 cards matching the 52 weeks, 4 suits, 4 seasons. I've shown how accurate these are embedded into nature. And they are extremely accurate in describing our reality. And then the cousin of the cards of illumination, of course, which came after, was the tarot. And this is the 3 of swords matching the 3. Spades is swords. And clearly you can see, folks, look at the symbolism of this card. Piercing the heart on the cross. Makes perfect sense. So you can see this. All these are in bed together. The Chaldean is directly tied to the tarot and the cards of illumination. Not any other ciphers. You're not going to find the connections like this. Not this closely woven. And then the element on the periodic table, again, is molybdenum. What's interesting about molybdenum, and it means lead, physical matter, that's all of us. Look who discovered it. Peter Jacob Helm. Now you may be like, oh, no, what does that got? Folks, the clue is right there. Peter, one of Jesus's 12 apostles. It's right there. And when you realize what Peter's all about, I mean, here is Peter in the 2 ciphers. The X is the 24th letter, X chromosomes, Peter. 64 is the possible codons in our DNA. And you realize this is the symbol of St. Peter, the upside down cross. We live in the upside down world. That's because the way light comes and refracts. It's not that we literally live upside down. It's because of the way the light moves through this reality. But this is the very reason why these layers are the way they are. And why this guy discovered molybdenum. You know why this guy discovered molybdenum? Because it was in his script. He was supposed to. Now, some of you are like, no, they fudged. And they just arbitrarily put Peter Jacob Helm on there just because, it had to be Peter. But folks, I've shown this countless times. There would have to be countless people in on a conspiracy to try to pull the woolly over your eyes. And that's not possible, folks. Man is being used to fulfill their script, their code. This was part of this guy's code to discover molybdenum because it was Peter. It's whole part of the Christ story. 42. The other element, again, showing it is calcium, which is our bones. And this is a very fitting, and to me, this is ironclad, convincing evidence. Reincarnation is 42. Calcium has a weight of 42. The word duality is 20, matching the protons of calcium. I mean, it's right there. Reincarnation and duality are right there. And this is where Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll comes into play because, of course, Alice followed the rabbit who had the clock indicating time. We get stuck in a time loop down into Wonderland, which is a 42. And that's why Alice and the Bible have everything to do with one another. Notice that there are 9, I think there may be more, but there are 9 ciphers. And I don't even use all these. I don't have to. But just to show you the significance, to kind of put your jaw on the floor, which it should be with this example, the word Bible and Alice, talking about the same thing, how we got here, through 9 different ciphers, are a direct match. Try to go find that with any other 2 words. And please let me know your findings. The only other one that I found was Yaldabaoth and the Holy See. That's it so far to have matches like this. So clearly this to me, and again, you got to make the truth your own. This is a story. This is a story. Was this true? Was this true? Got to make the truth your own. But clearly you can see the numbers are part of the software. Make no mistake about it. So the word crucifixion itself, I want to touch on this because we've been crucifixion is 42 in the Chaldean, but what about the original? Because you see, I like to go back to the original. I don't know about all of you decoding out there, but I feel that when you go to the original word, it has a lot of merit. Now, in the New Testament is where the crucifixion and the story of that came out. And it was written by the Greeks. And here is the word spelled out in the Greek using the numerology cipher of the Greek. And it's 137, and there it is, ladies and I mean, you can't make this up, and clearly you can see that the likelihood of man, whoever wrote all these words in the Greek, the likelihood that they were sitting down with a numerology cipher and the primes and all this math, and they were like, well, it's going to be a crucifixion because it's going to 137, which is the angle of light. That's what it means. The fine structure constant. There's a many layers. If you reduce it down, it equals the number 11, which equals the number 2. 2 is duality. But do you use your common sense and logic on this? Is this man coding this consciously back in those days? If you ask me, I say you're out of your freaking mind if you think that's the case. No way possible. Man is being used. What about the word cross? Seems to be a big word in our vocabulary. Look at what it equals. 113, and that also is a prime number, not just any prime number. The 30th prime number tied to these 2 big words in the world of religion and theology. Gnosticism calls the ruler of this reality the demiurge. The Neoplatonists, the demiurge. The New Age religion that came out, I think in the year 1870, the Jehovah's Witnesses. I was part of that growing up. I know it very well. It's right there. There's no separation. The word Santa Claus equals the number 30. What happens to Santa Claus? He comes down a chimney. It's all telling you coming down from somewhere else. Fallen angel story, all tied to that. Jesus of Nazareth. Nazareth equals the number 30. Where do you think he's telling you he comes from? It's all right there. No separation. The rabbit card is the 30th card. Folks, I've been showing this over and over. Many of you have been showing it over and over. There are no exceptions with the numbers. Not at this level, and not how many layers we're showing and intermingling all these. What about the word 30? Because it's tied to the word cross, tied to the word crucifixion. 33, the angle of light. Well, it's a 42. How about that? I mean, of all numbers, it could have been saying 30. Speaking that spell, it's a 40 frickin' 2. And again, leading to the two elements that carry that 42, molybdenum with its protons, calcium with its atomic weight / mass. And again, going to the cards of illumination, the 42nd card, and it being the Three of Swords. Heartbreak. Death. And when you bring in another layer, these cards came out in 1988. Jamie Sams and company, she passed on, but Native Americans, they have the bat card. And what do bats do? They hang upside down in the upside down world. St. Peter, one of the apostles of the Christ. Folks, this is why this story, they're allegories telling us the story. The Bible itself is tied to the 42 because here are the two testaments. The Old Testament written in Hebrew, the New Testament written in Greek. That equals the number 42. I mean, the Bible, bi meaning two, duality. The Old and New Testament is duality, love and fear. Old Testament, written by the Hebrews, is fear. And the New Testament, where Jesus came on the scene, is about love, scrapping the old ways, moving into the new. But they're a total of 42. Remember, life, the universe, everything, 42. Tied to the Bible and theology, ladies and gentlemen. There are no separations. And in numerology, if you're a numerologist, which I'm hoping the majority of you decoders are studying numerology, because just some of you call it gematria. None of us do gematria. That's the coding of words into numbers. We don't do that. We decode. And when you get your outcomes, you got to know what these numbers mean. In numerology, there's what's called the capstone of the words. And that's the first letter. That's the rudder of the ship. It directs the word. Notice it's a 53. There it is, tied to the element iodine, one half of the I am. Notice molybdenum's average atomic weight is 95, tied to the 95th element, americium, and there is the I am. I am that I am. It's right there. You cannot miss this code. These are all bridges. This is all part of the script. All of it. And there is no separation. Tied to our bones. Duality. Old and New Testament. Yin Yang. That's what it is. The cross looks like the letter T. And the letter T in the English alphabet is the 20th letter. What's interesting, of course, is the number 71 is the 20th prime number. And we know, I showed earlier, that is duality. So 42 leads to duality, wonderland, reincarnation, crucifixion, duality. The Bible has two testaments, duality. And 71 is tied to lutetium, and that's tied to, of course, Lucy and Lucifer, and that's tied to the sun because, when you really look at this 71, I want to touch on this because this is important, but this 71, when you go to the periodic table, it's tied to this element right here called lutetium. I've shown this over and over, and you'll notice that the weight of lutetium is 174. And when you go study Manly P. Hall, the great Freemason, now I don't know if he's accurate, obviously this is just his opinion, but when you synchronize these layers like we're doing right now, it starts to create the story. And to me, it starts to deliver the real truth on the matter. And Manly P. Hall said, it's right there, Lucifer is represented by the number 741. And 741 is right there. It's right there. It's just an anagram of that. But you got to use common sense and logic. I mean, look at what it starts with. Lucifer's number 741, and it's right there. Tied to the number 71. Tied to the 20th prime number, which is duality. Tied to the cross, because the cross is in the shape of the letter T. I mean, you can't miss this, ladies and gentlemen, when you can see how to synchronize all these layers together. So getting into a little bit more advanced synchronizations, we now get into the female reproductive system. Here it is right here, which kind of looks like a cross. Does it not? It kind of does. I'm showing this for a very specific reason. Because this is all about duality. This is all about duality. I mean, it's right there. T is 20. 20th prime number is 71, tied to Lucifer. That's why Jesus and Lucifer, they're all together. And when you really bring in the zodiac sign that works in unison with Venus, it's Taurus. Because, let me see if I have it up. Here is the natal chart of astrology. And astrology always starts right here. And this is the first house. And it goes counterclockwise, going back in time. So here's house number 1, and here's house number 2. And it's ruled by Taurus and Venus. And they both rhyme. Venus, Taurus. When you synchronize the chakras, it's going to be the second chakra called the sacral. And the sacral is right there. Now, the female reproductive system, where is it located? Right there. What's duality? It's 20, but when you drop that 0, it's 2. It's right there. 2 ovaries. The males have 2 testes, but the women, to procreate, to bring new life into this world, into duality, it's the ovaries. The female reproductive system, tied to the sacral, tied to Taurus and Venus. Taurus has 2 horns. Now, I'll leave it up to you. I already know what I see. But do you think there's a reason why Taurus and Venus are in the same house? And do you think this has any merit right here? Well, if you ask me, I know it freaking does. 2 horns, 2 ovaries. The Bible is Taurian. That's why it says by bull. What is a bull? It's Taurus. Taurus the bull. You can't make this up, folks. You just got to synchronize it and see it for what it is. And it's tied to the 42 because it's reincarnation, it's crucifixion, it's procreation, keeping you here in the game. Tied to Lucifer. I think this is the reason why people synchronize Lucifer being Venus. Because of this. And because of this. But I think there are many angles to observe all of this. Because, I mean, here is the solar plexus, aka the sun, even though it's Mars. But there are a lot of synchronizations in all of this, all leading to the 42. All of them. And when you really bring it together, you know, Jesus had a twin brother, the twins. His name was Thomas, otherwise known as Doubting Thomas, the negative one. They both equal the number 42. And when you reduce them down, Jesus becomes the number 9, Thomas becomes the number 6. What is 9 and 6 when you bring them together? It's the frickin' yin yang, the 2 twins. And, you know, when you go study the show Lucifer, which I decoded, the guy they casted to play Lucifer, his real life name is Thomas John Ellis. Thomas. His birth card is the 3 of clubs, 16th card, matching the word hell. It's just all part of the script, and it's all funny to me, if you ask me. But what would the odds be that they cast Lucifer and his birth name is Thomas, Jesus' twin brother? Now, Jesus is in the show. Absolutely. When you do the alchemology of Jesus and Thomas, and now if you're new to this, alchemology is numerology and then turning it into alchemy and combining the two together. So for instance, Jesus is a 15363, and then you just match the elements on the periodic table. 15363, hydrogen, boron, lithium, carbon, lithium. 15363, and Thomas is right here. And then you add them up using the trusty calculator. And I mean, look at what you get, folks. 89.109. 109 is the 29th prime number. Yaldabaoth is 29 in the Chaldean. 89 is on the masculine side of the decimal. 89 is Yaldabaoth. What do you think Yaldabaoth is? It's the ruler or the personalities of Jesus and Thomas. Jesus and Thomas are the personalities of Yaldabaoth. It's either Yaldabaoth is the boss of the two twins, or Jesus and Thomas, the two twins, are the personalities of Yaldabaoth. It's one or the other. It's one or the other, and we're getting close to the truth. But how about that? 42. It's right there. I mean, folks, think about this. What are the odds that they cast Thomas to play Lucifer and Jesus has a twin brother named Thomas? I mean, think about it and use your common sense and logic. All tied to Yaldabaoth. All of it. When you take the number 4 and 2 and you separate them and do the alchemy of those, you have beryllium, the fourth element, and the second element is helium. And going over to the trusty calculator, adding it up, look at what you get. 13.015 on the masculine side is the number 13, matching that with the tarot to give us the symbolism. It's death. Remember the words crucifixion, reincarnation. 42. Life, the universe, everything. 42. Death. And of course you got the devil on that side, the death devil. And that's tied to the architect. Folks, it's all right there. Staring us in the face, telling us the story. And death is part of life. It's death and rebirth, death and regeneration, which is tied to Yaldabaoth and zirconium. Death and regeneration, the scarab beetle. Let's get into the third topic. Oh, this one's going to be a fun one. This one's called fallen angels, because they have everything to do with 42. Life, the universe, everything? Yeah, it's tied to the fallen angel. And that's exactly what we all are. Now, I know you like all this, some of you like the stories of the 200 fallen angels that came down here, Mount Meru and all that kind of stuff. That's part of the script, by the way. It's written in the script. I found it. It's all tied to Mars, tied to the sun. But there it is, fallen angel 42. That's why life, the universe, everything, reincarnation, incarnation, crucifixion, it's all part of the angels fallen down here in this reality and reincarnating. That's what it's all about. That's why at this current moment, of course, it's subject to change. If you personally ask me, I don't think there's a way out. I think we change avatars, we level up perhaps, and that's it. So enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. So angel and demon, again, are tied to that 42. Life, the universe, everything. Look at the synchronization on what I'm showing you here, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, when you do the capstone of numerology of angel and demon, it's the 1 and the 4. 14 is tied to the word God. God equals 14. Time equals 14. It's all right there, folks. The angel and demon is it's the personalities of the architects. We have both. We have both. And there it is. Reincarnation, angel, demon. Now, some of you say, well, no, I'm not a demon. I'm an angel. No, you're a fallen angel. And you have characteristics of both. That's what makes us human. I would even say it's impossible not to do sinful things. I don't think it's even possible to not sin. That's because we're imperfect. That's just the way this game works. It's all right there. Now, when you get into some interesting new ways of decoding, you can take the numerology of these words and then bring them into the tarot, and you can get some visuals. And notice, angel's 17, demon is 25, giving us 42. 17th card in the tarot deck is the star card. That's our birth. You see, we're all fallen angels. When you get down here in Wonderland, when you get down here in physical matter, you become a little devil. And that's why we're both. And the 25th card, using the Fool as the card number 22, it's the Three of Wands. And this card is all about launching plans. Think about what I'm showing you here, folks. You're birthed into this world by being an angel from the stars. And then you land into this world, and then you must launch your plans. That's what this card means, launching long-term plans. What would you be doing if you're a fallen angel incarnating into this world? You'd be launching your plans once you know what plans are. Start to move through life. So in essence, it's showing us that this is what we all are, and there's no escaping that. Not through these layers. And, when you add on the cards of illumination to get a more extensive version or an extensive observational point, it becomes even more interesting, because this is a typo, by the way, so don't even measure that. I have this here for a reason, but the 17th card in the cards of illumination is the Four Clubs card. And the 16th card in the deck, matching the Three of Wands. Wands means clubs. It's the Three Clubs card. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it gets really funny, and it shows the script, how everything's written into this software. Is this card is tied to this card. Three Clubs means the Three of Wands. And when you go right back to Lucifer, look at what Thomas John Ellis, the guy they casted to play Lucifer, this is his birth card. Right there, born on November 17th. 17, remember, 17 is the star card. So it's clearly telling you right there, and there's the match. Tied to the word hell. The word hell equals 16. This is the 16th card. But yet when you synchronize it to the tarot and the 25, you clearly can see how it all tells the story so perfectly. And when you can kind of wash away all the propaganda and the dogma and all that, what you're left with is the real story of why we're here. And it's the architect playing out its own game. And I've shown that now in so many, countless videos of people being used to experience life by way of the architect. So just enjoy the ride, discover your code. So the reason why I had the 26 there is, you see, when you move it into another layer, the 17th card in the cards of illumination is the Four Clubs. That's clubs means wands. There it is. It's the Four of Wands. And this card, notice the people behind there in their castle. Happy home. You're birthed into this world. Yay! Celebration. Angel. And then when you start to launch your long-term plans, you become a good little devil because you sin. Starting off in the star position, no blemishes, coming out into this world. But then as you move along and etch through life, you realize that you're just a good little devil. And that's just the way it is. And we sin, and that's just how it is in this reality. That's how it's made. This software is made that way. 42, angel demon. Even the word fallen, again, I showed this earlier, is 25. When you go watch this show, His license plate on the Corvette he drives, it says Fallen. And it's a match right there. So I can assure you folks, Hollywood is using if they're consciously sitting down and using numerology, I can tell you which cipher they're using. Chaldean. They're not using reverses and satanics and septenary. They're not using those. Or the English reduction. They're not using those. Although you can find what you're looking for, you just got to get through more layers. But if, and I say that with a big if, because I don't think that many of these people in Hollywood are using numerology, they're just living out their script. And of course, because as fate would have it, the script's going to match up with the numerology, and that's why we're able to decode it. Some people, of course, consciously are probably using it, but many are not. And then, going back to the cards to give another rendition to show you the angel and demon being tied to the human being, the Homo sapien. There it is. It's the 4 and the 3, 17 and 16 tied to the angel and the demon. I showed this. It leads to the 33. 17 and 16, getting out your calculator, it's going to equal the number 33. 33. And that is tied to our vertebrae. Some have 34. But no matter which way you slice it, it's going to be one of the other. 33 plus 34 is 67, tied to the 19th prime, going right back to the sun. 19th card in the tarot is the sun card. So when you get into the alchemy now, folks, of the angel demon being 42, you now have chlorine being 17 tied to angel, and demon being 25 tied to manganese. And I showed how this is tied to the reincarnation process in my Angel Falls. And when you do the alchemy of these, clearly you can see what you get. 89. What's 89? Yaldabaoth. 89 reduced down is 17. 17 is the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. 17 reduced down is the number 8, which is part of the hourglass, the torus fields. Get into physics and sacred geometry. Scrape away all the stories that we've bolted on to all this stuff. Simplify your life and you'll see what you end up coming down with. It's right there through alchemy. You go right back to Yaldabaoth again. So again, angel and demon, 17 and 25, chlorine and manganese. When you add those two up and alchemize them, you get 89. It's a direct match to Jesus and Thomas doing their alchemology. 89. I mean, these two examples strengthen the story that it is Yaldabaoth who is behind all of this creation. Clearly, to me, that's the way it looks. And that's where, you get Saturn in there, you get the Lion of Judah, because Yaldabaoth's known as the lion with the worm's body, tied to the octopus, tied to the spider card. Spider, octopus, they're all in the same building together, working together. They're just the wardrobe. And it can get confusing. When you divide the two, angel and demon, of course, good versus evil. When you divide the two, you get 0.63. 63 is found in this element called copper. Copper's protons, 29. What's 29? Yaldabaoth. So again, addition, division, angel, demon, Yaldabaoth. 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 Jesus Thomas, Yaldabaoth. It's becoming a monotonous story now, ladies and gentlemen. And we know in Kabbalah, the pillars, Boaz and Yachin, what were they made of? Copper. Go check out my decode on Boaz and Yachin. Copper. Copper equals 33 in numerology, by the way. Just the same as Boaz and Yachin. Coincidence? Not a chance. So there's angel and demon. Life, the universe, everything. Angels and demons. So what we both are, ladies and gentlemen. We're made up of both. We're all fallen angels. I decided to look into the cards of illumination because we're talking about the number 42. So the 42nd day on the calendar, February 11th. Happy birthday, Kevin. It's the Ace Spades card. And the Ace Spades is the 40th card in the deck, tied to Yaldabaoth again, Zirconium, 89. But, then I'm like, okay, well, 42's tied to the 40th card. Where's 42 found in the layers of math? Well, the 181 is the 42nd prime number. So again, I'm like, okay, well, what's the 181st day of the year? What card is that? Tied to the King Hearts, card number 13. You take 13 plus 40 and you get 53. 53 goes right back to that iodine, one half of the I am that I am. So you can clearly see, folks, when you synchronize and you embed all these layers together, they start to tell you the truth. And Yaldabaoth keeps showing up over and over. So let's get into some sports now. And if you're not a fan of sports, I'm going to leave the timestamps in the description of this video. You can just skip right to number 5 if you want to, or skip ahead, whatever. I'm going to leave all the timestamps. But let's get into baseball's 42. So I want to show you man's being used. This is all part of the software and the script. There is no separation. And here's the guy that made the number 42 famous in the world of baseball. Jackie Robinson. His real name, which I find is really funny because there's the Jack. There's the Jack in the box. It's Jack Roosevelt Robinson. That was his real birth name. And notice his birth to death. He was born on January 31st, 1919. 19 is the sun card. And he died October 24th, 1972. Here are the two cards. January 31st. Let me be really transparent. Let me take you to that. So here's the boilerplate chart for the cards of illumination. And here is the 12 months running horizontally and then, or vertically, horizontally, and then the days of the year run vertically. But here is January going all the way down to the 31st. It's the 9 clubs card. So that's Jackie Robinson's birth. And then his death was October 24th. So let me show you that, being really transparent. Here's the month of October going all the way down to the 24th. And there it is, the Jack Hearts card. So he has the 9 clubs in the Jack Hearts card. The 9 clubs is the 22nd card in the deck. Let me show you that real quick. Now, I want to just digress and say, if any of you want these graphics, if you watch my decode on how to decode your name through Francis Bacon, I forgot to mention, you're going to need these graphics to figure out what cards you are. If you want these graphics, just send me an email, and I've sent them to thousands of people. Just send me an email. My email is decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and I'll send them to you. So here's Jackie Robinson's birth card. Card number 22, the 9 clubs, and then his death on October 24th is the Jack Hearts card, card number 11. So when you add the two up, card number 22 and card number 11, get out your calculators, you get the number 33. Now, you know what some people are going to say? It's the Masons. There it is. Oh, it's Masonic now. Now it's the Masons. They made Jackie Robinson's mom have his birth on January 31st. They induced it because they had to have him have the 22nd card. Now, I can see maybe them killing somebody, but not forcing a birth. And then what would the purpose be? And you know what people are going to say? It was a ritual. Folks, I understand and I realize some of those things happen, but I'm going to prove to you that this guy's life was owned and operated by the architect, not man. So get the whole Masonic garbage, propaganda, mind control things out of your life. Expand. Because when you see this number, it doesn't mean it's Masonic. It's the number 8 anyway. It's not even 33. Tied to Scorpio, the eagle. But nonetheless, it's right there, folks. His birth to death card, 33. 42, that's the number he wore. And his name's Jack, the Jack in the Box. Jackie Robinson, when you do his name through Francis Bacon, and I showed how to do that. If you're new to this, you're just going to take whatever your total outcome is. And Francis Bacon is very special because it uses the numbers 1 through 26 for the lowercase, 27 through 52 for the uppercase. And of course, typically we all capitalize our first letter of each word properly. And he has a 340. And what you do is you subtract 52 until you get to 52 or below. And Jackie Robinson ends up becoming the number 28. And look at what 28 ends up landing on in the string of pi. Coincidence? Matching his birth to death. So you can clearly see, folks, to have a conspiracy in front of you to make this guy be born and then take him out, and then you have to have it shown this way, is absolutely ludicrous thinking. It's actually very irresponsible to think that man could be coding this, and you think man's coding this. They're not. Let me just keep going and show you some more. Just to tack on more layers. Jackie Robinson was born in Cairo, Georgia. He died in Stamford, Connecticut. Here are the two cities. Equals the number 47. I mean, he dies in Stamford, that's 33. Matching his birth to death cards. But it's 47. This is what was running his life. Not any secret society. It's the architect coming down here to become man and experience what it's like to become man and woman. Play its own game. Here's more proof in the pudding, folks. I don't know how you can. I don't know how else you can wrap your mind around what I'm going to show you right now. The distance between, this is called distancebetween.com, distance-between.com, I think is the website. But the distance between his birth city of Cairo and his death city of Stamford. Let me zoom in. 900, a straight line, 920.57 miles. Look at where the 920 appears in the string of pi, folks. It occupies 3 digits. Count along with me now. 328, 329, and 330. There's the 33 again. Now, do you think man is consciously doing this? Because they knew it was 920 miles away, and they knew in the string of pi it would be ending at the 330, and it's a match to where he died in Stamford, and it's a match to his birth to death card being 33. Folks, you guys, it's ludicrous thinking. Man is not coding this. Man is being used to fulfill the script called life. More 33. I mean, folks, look how many layers of 33 we find. Has nothing to do with the Masons. Nothing. Let's keep going. I got more to show you. Here's the house Jackie Robinson grew up in. Here's the full address through numerology, spelling all the words out, not abbreviating anything. You should be doing this with your own house that you grew up in. Find another piece of your code. What do you see there, folks? Another 33. Now, did the Masons pick his house out? Where he grew up at? Or do you think the more logical answer is the guy was being used by the architect? Whatever that looks like. That's the more logical answer. Here, let me show you. What is it? How about in Chaldean? 137. What's 137, ladies and gentlemen, using numberempire.com? It's the 33rd prime number. So no matter which way you slice it, and no matter which way you dice it, you can clearly see the Chaldean's going to lead to the 33, the angle of light telling you from the sun, the boss. He's a little puppet on strings playing out baseball. or it's the 33 through the English, or it's the 33 in the distance between his birth to Death City, or it's the 33 in the string of pi from his name through the Francis Bacon, or it's the 33 from his birth to death card. Folks, you can clearly see this has nothing to do with mankind. It's actually very disrespectful to whatever created this reality, and it can go so many different ways, but let's give credit where credit's due. We did not create this reality. We didn't code this reality. We're just following our script. This is a perfect example of a guy being used, again, to add on to so many countless layers I've shown now. I mean, what year did Jackie Robinson make history? By becoming the first African-American baseball player in the major leagues? 1947. That's why it was in 1947. Because it's this that's running this guy, not man. When Jackie Robinson passed on, he passed on at 7:10 a.m. He was 53. Of course, 53 is iodine, but when you do the alchemy of 7 and 10, there it is, nitrogen and neon, and you add them up using the trusty calculator. I mean, it just gets monotonous now. There it is again. And the guy wore the number 42. Life, the universe, everything. 42. 4 plus 2 is 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 is the first perfect number. 6 days of creation. The zodiac sign Virgo, the virgin. Jesus was born of a virgin. You see how all these stories synchronize? They're all part of the script, and there's no separation. Some may just be a little bit farther on down the line, but they're all going to lead back to the same origin. We're all part of the script. He was 53 when he passed on. Iodine. I am. I showed iodine's right to the 47, the tetragrammaton. It's right there. I am that I am. Of course, it's the architect coming down here and becoming man. Changing baseball. The game changer. Of course, who do you think is going to do that? The architect's going to do that. Controlling the strings from above. So let's get into the fifth topic. Why the number 42? Why 42? Well, let's get right into the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Douglas Adams. And here is Douglas Adams, and I thought this was absolutely fascinating, so I pulled it. And Douglas Adams, if you read with me, it says, Douglas Adams was asked many times why he chose the number 42. Many theories were proposed, including that a 42 is a 10-10-10 in the binary code. That's going to lead to the number 30. That's going to lead to the word demiurge, Jehovah, and Nazareth, and Santa Claus, and all those. It's going to. They said it's. How about the light refracting by 42 degrees to create a rainbow? 42 over the pyramids. Protons, and Douglas Adams, he rejected them all. And according to his website, he said the answer is very simple. It was a joke. No, it wasn't a joke because Douglas Adams was being used. So to him, it was a joke. To him, it would just popped into his head because that's what he said. He said, I sat at my desk, stared into the garden, and thought 42 will do, and I typed it out. End of story. That's why he chose the number. According to what he says. Now, is he telling you the truth? That's up to you to make the truth your own. But you see, the proof's in the pudding on when this came out, right there. November 3rd, 1993. November 3rd, 1993, the card that's tied to that is the Four Diamonds card. And the Four Diamonds card, let me just go and be really transparent. Here it is, the Four Diamonds in consecutive orders. It's the 30th card in the deck. And that's tied to the element zinc. And if you've seen my decode on Angel Falls, talking about the fallen angels, how we all got here, it's tied to zinc in 65. But there it is. Of all cards, of all days, it's tied to the Four Diamonds, and this is the box. You can make a box around here. Four Diamonds. And of course, November 3rd can also be written 311 or 113. And it's the 30th prime number. 30th prime number, 30th card, tied to that date. You see how all this is tied, and we know Demiurge equals 30. That's why the number 42 was chosen, because man's being used. I showed the 4 diamonds card tied to the founder of Jack in the Box, and when that American fast food restaurant was founded, February 21st, 1951. This is the card of February 21st, 1951. It's the same card as the day that Douglas Adams made the statement that it was just a joke, that he chose 42. Well, of course it wasn't. The joke's on us, because life is a joke. And the architect is a freaking comedian, which is probably laughing right now at all of us. But what do you think the odds are that the fast food restaurant Jack in the Box is got the same card as the day that Douglas Adams came out and said it has nothing to do with all this stuff? It was because I just thought 42 is going to do. Yeah, okay, sure. Well, now, I mean, this clearly should tell you that man is being used, and 42 is tied to the architect, the demiurge that runs this reality. Jackie Robinson, his life wasn't his own. Tied to the rabbit card again, 30th card, rabbit card, Alice followed the rabbit. See how all these synchronize, all these stories. It was Alice real? Was there really an Alice? Can we prove that there was really an Alice? No, we cannot. Can you prove there was really a Jesus? No, you cannot. Yet the stories synchronize, and they're all in bed together. Now, I'm not here to deny you of what you want to believe, but I can surely tell you, and I'm pointing it out, this is my support, based off my opinion. Opinions suck. Opinions with support, they suck less. Got to make the truth your own, though. So let's get into the 6th topic called Adams Galaxy. And, let's break down Douglas Adams, the guy who originated the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It was a show before it actually even became a novel, set of novels. But, folks, look at the guy's freaking birth. Born on March 11th, 1952. How do you write out March 11th? Well, they have it written 11 March, so it would be 11-3. 11-3. 30th prime number. Demiurge. So you have this guy's birthday tied to the 30th prime number, and then you have him coming out and saying that it was just out of just pure my mind that I'm going to choose the number 42. Tied to the 30th card on the date that he actually came out with this on his website? Is this pure coincidental? Is this mankind trying to mock you? Is it people trying to pull the wool over your eyes? And what would the point be? Clearly you can see. I mean, the guy has an 11/11 birth to death, by the way. Born on March 11th, died on the May 11th. 11/11. Tied to the demiurge. Jehovah equals 30. It's all tied together. All of it. So here is the breakdown of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It originated on the BBC, and it came out, the first broadcast, yeah, I have it highlighted here, on March 8th, 1978. And March 8th is the 67th day of the year. And 67 is the 19th prime number, and that's going to go right back to the boss, the sun. Just showed. Sun, moon, earth. 42. Life, the universe, everything. Sun, moon, earth. That's it. It's right there. Right there, folks. His birthday... His birthday is March 11th, and the March 11th card, let me show you that. This is a big deal. But here is Douglas Adams' birthday, March, and then the 11th is the Queen Diamonds. The Queen Diamonds is the 38th card in the deck. There it is. It's part of the Jack and Jill, by the way. And that's his birth card. Now, what's fascinating is, remember, this came out on March 8th. 8/3 or 3/8 matches his birth card. Now, I can see they could consciously do that, coming out, matching his birth card. But you see, there's a movie that came out in 1962 and got redone in 2004 with Denzel Washington. I just watched it again yesterday to get some more nuggets, and I got a ton. And I watched the movie like 3 or 4 times. But this one starred Frank Sinatra, and it was all based around the Queen Diamonds card. I mean, you can clearly see it. Here's one of the screenshots in the movie, and the Queen is what runs the Jack. Feminine, because we know the female's the boss. And this guy was being mind controlled. This movie, along with Denzel Washington, is a subtle story telling you that we're all being used by mind control, not by man, by the architect that runs this reality. And this was the perfect example of that. So there it is. This is this guy's birth card. Think about what I'm showing you. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. His birth card. Manchurian Candidate. Man being used through mind control. Queen Diamonds. This show was released first March 8th, 1978, before the book came out. It's the 2 Spades card, card number 41. Let me show you that. Here's March. Here's the 8th. It's the 2 Spades card. The 2 Spades card right here is the 41st card in the deck. So there's the release date of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. When you bring the 2 cards together of the release date of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Douglas Adams, the guy who created Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, here's his birth card. You got the 41st card in the deck and the 38th card in the deck. And if you get out your trusty calculator and you add up 41 plus 38, you're going to get the number 79, which is gold, which is the sun. The sun's gold, turning lead into gold. Now, the words Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the actual title is 108. You know, the subtleties, it's 30 letters. Yeah, what's 30? Demiurge, Jehovah, 30. Santa Claus, 30. Nazareth, 30. Rabbit card, down the rabbit hole. And it's 108, tied to some of the numbers of beads and some of the rosary beads. 108. Half of a circle's in there. But it's tied to this element right here called silver. Silver is one of the keys on the Vatican's flag, and it has a weight of 108. Silver has 47 protons, a match to the word tetragrammaton. And the biggest takeaway out of all this is here is the spelling of the tree of knowledge in the biblical through the Hebrew, the original spelling, spelling out knowledge, the tree of knowledge, 47. Guess what the tree of life is? 46. 46 and 47 is our DNA, which equals the number 93. They say the sun is 93 million miles away. What's the boss of this reality? See, you got to be the judge of this, folks, but when you know how to use the numbers, you can clearly see how all of this ties in, and it all leads back to Helios. So the 42, life, the universe, everything, I showed this through the reincarnation and crucifixion. There are the 2 elements, and I feel Neptune has a big play in this because Neptune's weight is 237. That 37 is tied to the loop if you've been paying attention. But there are the 2 elements tied to the 42. And, you know, we're talking about lead to gold. Some things I wanted to throw in there because this is important. You know, the lead to gold, which is how we're all being used. Gold, molybdenum, is the number 58 tied to the puppet master. And 42 and 79 is going to equal 121. It's tied to antimony. That's why I got the square head on the puppet, because antimony is the architect. Antimony is the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is our brain. That's how we're being used. We're being used through the transmission of our thoughts. The little voice in your head that's talking right now, that uses you. Now, if you take gold and calcium, because this was gold and molybdenum, and I said that both of these are tied to the number 42. But if you take now calcium and gold, turning lead into gold, gold calcium equals the number 38. 38 goes right back to that card, Queen Diamonds. And if you recall, Douglas Adams, his birth card is the Queen Diamonds. And you go right back to the Manchurian Candidate, and it's all Queen Diamonds. This is all done, obviously, telling you the story. It's the Queen. And remember, folks, the letter Q. When you go look at the letter Q, it's the 17th letter. And keeping your eye on that Chaldean, you'll notice that that is 17. Whether you want to spell it that way or that way, it's right there. It's the Q. The Queen. That's why it's on the Queen. Feminine. Man's being used, puppet on strings. So the Manchurian Candidate, this movie, and again, I encourage you to go watch the 2004 version of it. It was a pretty fascinating movie. If you've seen it only one time, you may want to watch it again. Try to pick up some syncs in there. Look at the doors they walk through, the addresses, the things in the mailboxes, the license plates. Folks, there's just so many moving parts, and there's no way that the directors and the screenwriters can get everything in there. So it's not possible. There's just too many moving parts. Things in the background, signs, and it's all scripted, all of it. All designed for our eyes to give energy to those things that we're observing. But notice the Manchurian Candidate is the number 75. What's interesting is Manchurian is the 33. And Candidate is 28 tied to the architect. So it's the 33 and the architect. It's mankind being used. And the 75 through the string of pi, not just any number that it occupies. 47 and 48, but it starts at the 47th decimal digit. There it is. Once again, tetragrammaton. Just using the Chaldean, by the way, too. I'm not deviating away. I have a few English ordinals sprinkled in there, but it's mostly Chaldean. Makes it a lot harder to synchronize things. I mean, there's the Queen Diamonds, red, white, and blue, done on purpose. Blue shift, red shift, Santos Bonacci, Torres Fields. It's all right there. You can't miss it. When you do it through the English, you get gold. Manchurian Candidate, 196. 196 is gold, turning lead into gold, turning lead into gold. That's what this is saying and telling all of us. And then, of course, in the English, Manchurian's 102. What's 102 tied to? Rhodium, the 45th element, the rhodium box that we live in. It's in my Architect of the Universe. 45, rhodium, the Rosy Cross, the Rosicrucians. They know what's up. They know what's up. It's right there. You can't miss this. Even through Back to the Future. 42, when you say it, it's 39 tied to the element yttrium. There's the 88 miles an hour. And this is the reason why the flux capacitor is in the shape of the crucifixion and the cross. It's all right there. All of it. There's no separation. I showed this earlier. 42 digits into the string of pi is 207, tied to the demiurge and the 82, tied to lead and Saturn. It's all right there, tied to prison planet. There it is. 82 appears at the 52nd decimal digit. 52 is tied to prison planet. Tied to the 42. 42 digits in, 207, lead. Lead's tied to 52 in the string of pi. Prison planet. So when you take 42, it's not a joke, as Douglas Adams said. It really means you being stuck here in this game of life. So let's get into the seventh topic, the life, the universe, everything. This is my last topic. Thanks for sticking with me. Another long one, but a fun one. Let's get into the seventh topic, life, the universe, everything. This is all about the movie. And an extension to show you more and more how it's all synchronized together, written into the script, tied into the checkerboard, the chessboard. Leave out all the propaganda and the bullshit that you've been programmed with and what you sided with to point the finger at this or that, and look at the numbers and real tangible things that we can measure in a laboratory. If you know what alchemy means, how it works, if you've studied it, if you studied chemistry in high school, there's nothing Masonic about it when it comes down to those words Masonic. Mason is 20 anyway in numerology, which means duality. That's why they use the checkerboard. Free's 20, Mason's 20. Which equals the number 40. 40 is tied to Yaldabaoth. Life, the universe, everything, 311. I showed this is the birthday of Douglas Adams. The birthday. And 311 is the 64th prime number. And of course, here's where theology gets synchronized with this, because in the story of Jesus fishing with the apostles, how many fish did they catch? 153. And of course, 153 is the measurement of the Vesica Piscis, which comes into where the fish is. And the fish is right in here, tied to our double helix and our DNA. And there is the Vesica Piscis. They're all in there, all of them. Tied to the life, the universe, everything. What about the Chaldean? Well, the Chaldean shows a little bit of a different example, but it's tied to the hole that we all went down, the portal. Natalie knows this really well. She's hot to trot on that. Life, the universe, everything. 101. The big standout, of course, to me is everything, because it's life, the universe, everything. Everything's contained. 37 tied to the time loop. 19, 37, 46. 37 tied to the sun and moon, the architect of the universe. And 101 is not just any number, it's the 26 prime number. And 26 is the G-O-D. And of course, ruthenium is the 44th element, which has the atomic weight of 101. 44 is huge because it's tied to what we're all being used for, which is our currency. And it's not just any currency, it's gold currency, because we go back to the sun. The sun is gold. Remember Yahweh, the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh is 17. It's the sun. That's where Jesus and Lucifer, Jesus and Thomas are all in bed together, all squashed together. No separation, just part of the story. The word fish equals 17. That's what we all are. Goldfish. Being mined for our energetic gold down here in Wonderland. And 101 is the portal. This is the portal that we all go down in the string of pi. It's found at the 853rd decimal digit. That's 88. That's linked to time travel. 42 once again. And, I think this is I got two slides left. No, I got a few slides left. So what I thought was really interesting is this is a big expression of life, universe, everything. And it uses 3 animals. I don't know where this originated from, by the way. So if you know, please share. But here are the 3 animals that whoever created this graphics, which is got a monopolization on it because it's all over the place. But it's the whale, the dolphin, and the mouse. So I thought it was pretty interesting because when you bring in the medicine cards, if you're if you're new to this, there are 52 cards in the deck of the medicine cards, and they use insects, animals, and reptiles, etc., in their expressions. And what's fascinating is there is a whale, card 41, matching the whale. There is a dolphin, card number 40, matching the dolphin. And there is a mouse, matching the mouse. This is the triquetra, by the way, which was in the show Dark on Netflix, which is all about getting stuck in the loop. The triquetra was in there. If you watch that show Dark, there's the triquetra. It's right there. It's synchronized with this. So if you take 41 and you add 40, you're going to get 81, and then you add 20, get out your calculators. What are you going to get? 101. So not only do we have 101 through a separate layer of numerology, but we have it here using a separate layer called the medicine cards. These came out in the year 1988. The whale, the dolphin, and the mouse. 101. Life, the universe, everything. Folks, look at this synchronicity. You tell me if man could ever code this. Not a chance. Too many moving parts. When you do the capstones of life, universe, everything, we take out the word the. We take out the word the. Life, universe, everything. The capstone of life, universe, and everything is LUE. Look at what it gives us. 38. The capstone of numerology, which is a big deal in numerology if you're a numerologist. Like you should be taking your first, middle, and last name and just using the first letter and decoding that and getting another layer through numerology of part of your code. You'll find some synchronicities in there, more keys to your kingdom. But there it is. It's 38. And what's the 38th? What's the 38th card? The Queen Diamonds, leading right back. What is Douglas Adams, the creator of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? What's his birth card? Queen Diamonds. What's the Manchurian Candidate all about? Queen Diamonds. Mind control. Man being used. 42. Coming down here and becoming man by way of the portal. Fallen angel story, angels and demons, it all fits in there. Life, universe, and everything. When you take the word the out of there, it equals the number 87. Where's the sync with that? Because you see the 38th element matching the 38 of the capstone of life, universe, everything. It's right there telling us the synchronized version of it. Strontium, 38 protons, a weight of 87. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Washington, D.C. sits on the latitude line 38 degrees north. Just saying. So here are my last two slides. Here's the guy who was the voice. Now, this is a screenshot of BBC's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There are several versions of it. This is the BBC version of it. These two gentlemen come before the supercomputer. Notice the color of it. Same color as the Wizard of Oz. Green emerald tablets of Thoth. Green. There's no separation. The heart chakra, green. Green is the number 20, which is duality. This is the guy who was the voice of the supercomputer, Valentine Dial, and look at what number he equals. 47. There's the capstone is 64 or 46. 64 is the God element, but there it is. Tetragrammaton. It's right there, folks. Here's his bio, and just to end this presentation with a bang. Valentine's birthday is May 7th, and the May 7th card is the Queen Diamonds card 38. So, and remember, May 7th is 57, tied to the words, The Truman Show is 57, Stairway to Heaven is 57. It's just all a big joke. All of it, folks. But you can clearly see that this guy was chosen for this role, not, maybe by the producers and the people that casted him, but they were being used. This guy was being used because it was supposed to lead to this, and it all comes down to this, folks. The 38, which is, you know, tied to the number 11 and tied to duality because 11 is 2, and it's just all funny. All of it is just really funny. So, what did you see during this presentation, ladies and gentlemen? This is my first video back in a while. I just moved over to the Cancun, Mexico area. I've been here almost a week and joined forces with Santos and Danny and all these guys, excited to bolt on what I have and to help these guys out. The Syncretism Society, check those guys out. This is my first presentation in more than a week. And I just been putting this off, but I wanted to get this one out. And I'd love to hear what you saw during this presentation and your thoughts and your observational points. So folks, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. And I thank each and every one of you for watching, your donations, your Patreons. Those of you that want to get a reading, send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com. So until next time, folks, we will see you later.